Hello everybody, peace, welcome to another video, and today we're going to be talking about scars, physical scars, emotional scars.
From beautiful seas to flourishing legacies.
So what inspired this video was listening to a recent lecture by Muslimah, and he talked about the wounds that don't heal. And it was such a beautiful lecture because he spoke, and please do listen to it, he spoke about the idea that there are some wounds that are not supposed to be healed. And the reason why it was so powerful is because there are so many of us who have lived a life which is human, right? And I know that's a very vague thing to say, but what I mean by that is that as a human, you live, you interact, you breathe, you grow, and when you're a child, and this is really what it comes down to, you are born and you walk, and then you fall and you get a scar, and you rise and then you fall, and then you rise and you fall, and that is literally the pattern of our life as it goes along. It mirrors that infant stage. We are literally falling and rising constantly as we're trying to walk, right? And the reason why it was so powerful about the scars is because it was something very personal to me. I remember when I was much younger and I was going through a transition of coming to Islam, and I had come away from Islam for many reasons, and I was feeling there was a lot of dysregulation, there was a lot of things that were happening inside of my body. But what happened was I moved from England to America, and I began to do small things. So for example, I began to pray 5 times a day. I began to do other things as well, fasting in Ramadan, and then just slowly things happened. I began to wear my hijab, and then there was other things that happened. But the point was, what happened during that time was that my skin became extremely inflamed. And I remember I would wear makeup, and that was something I would do in England. I would wear a lot of makeup, and I would do it because I felt like it made me feel much more confident in myself. And I remember making a prayer when my skin had inflamed, it inflamed so much. But basically what happened was I remember making a prayer and saying, I pray that I can walk down the street with wearing no makeup. And I remember feeling so like, I don't know when that's going to happen, and I don't feel the confidence right now. I feel so broken. I feel so just so weak, and look at my skin. So anyway, one day I did go out, and I went to Macy's, and I went to the section, and I asked the dermatologist, I said, is there something wrong with my skin? I don't know what it is. I do know what the issue was now, but I didn't know what it was then. And I remember she looked at me, and she gave me this look, and she was like, you need to see a doctor for that because it's so bad. And I was like, oh. And I remember feeling so like, oh, my skin, I hate it, it's so awful. And what happened after was, thank God, alhamdulillah, it healed. And the reason why it was like that, by the way, is because I was extremely emotionally dysregulated, my nervous system. So the first call of defense for the body to tell you that there is something wrong is the skin. The skin was the first thing that was created from your nervous system, right? So that's the first thing, that when something is wrong with you, you'll probably see inflammation, I was extremely inflamed, or you will see things like a huge breakout. That's telling you that there's something wrong, right? You're stressed, your hormones might be something might be wrong with your hormones. There might be other issues that are happening, and it could be a breakdown that you're having, or it could be just like it's a message, right? So my skin was telling me something, and thank God I didn't actually take any medication for that, because I know a lot of people, they'll have skin outbreaks and they'll take something called Accutane, for example, and that ends up emotionally dysregulating them even more, which is the cause of the skin in the first place, right? It's most of the time it's a hormonal issue, it's a stress issue, which could be separate to a hormonal issue. But the point is that I didn't take anything for my skin, but what happened was, thank God, it healed, it went away, right? So after it went away, there was these scars that were left. You can't see it on this video, but if you see me in person, you'll see these scars, right? So there was some serious dents or some scars that were left in my face. And I felt so embarrassed being around people for a really long time, because they would look and they would kind of see them and they would pay attention. And I began to wear makeup again, a lot of makeup, because I felt like that's just what people do. Because I was doing poetry, I was on stages, and I felt like, you have to look the part, and which is a world away from right now, because so much has changed. So anyway, that's the mindset that that was before I got married. I think it must have been around 7, 8, 9 years ago. So anyway, that's how I thought. So I was still covering it up, and then I just decided one day, you know what, off with it. Off with the makeup, off with everything. I just want to be free. I just want to be free, right? So anyway, what happened was I began to not wear any makeup, and the scars began to show a lot more. And I remember looking in the mirror and thinking to myself, when will they go? When will they go? And I remember feeling really rubbish about it, because again, I just felt very self-conscious. Not because anyone was saying anything, it was just more of a self-conscious feeling. And when I listened to this lecture, there's certain things that happen sometimes, and it's very subconscious, and it isn't obvious, and it just kind of happens over a period of time, right? And this is one of those things where small little signs were coming, things were coming, just saying that you've changed, you're not the person who you used to be, right? And one of the things is like my skin. So I looked in the mirror and there were scars. And I remember looking in the mirror for the first time and thinking, you know what? That's my story, right? My story is written on my face, the same way a person who is older. I don't know if you've ever seen those older people, and they have really, they smile and instantly they have these lines on their eyes, and it's so beautiful because you could already tell that this person has smiled a lot in their life. It's like the proof is on their faces, right? And I remember looking in there and I'm like, that was my story, and this is my story. And the same thing, if you're a mother and you've had children, you'll have stretch marks on your body. And there's this pull in society about being perfect, looking perfect, having the perfect body, no scars, no stretch marks, being a certain weight, having a certain face, looking and talking a certain way, hair, you can just put the words in, right? And there's such this pressure. If it's not the pressure of speaking, it's the pressure of people doing it, right? And some of us feel more aligned with a different way of being, right? And sometimes the society doesn't accept you in that way or see value in that. And one of those things is accepting your scars, accepting the scars on us that tell a story about us, which can inspire us to keep living our life with the story that is already proof on us. Now, I don't know if you're the kind of person who writes, you might journal. That is actually that's like my love. My love is writing, right? And the thing with writing is you can express yourself. And one thing I love to do is document and write and just record everything. And it's just something that I like to do anyway. The point is that papers can be burnt, papers can be taken off, your computer can be completely wiped out and everything, but it won't carry the scars for you, right? Your scars cannot be carried on a paper. Your scars are carried on your face. Your scars are carried on your body. Now, I'm not saying that there's no value in writing. There is value. There's value in expression. This is why I express myself to you in a video. There's value in expressing yourself in your writing, because then you're able to explore it. But when we make that more than what it is and take it away from the story that we have to tell on ourselves, and by looking at ourselves and we try to erase that, it's almost like we are erasing a certain part of the past. And that is not to say that some parts of the past we feel so strongly should be erased, because we have a lot of shame attached to it. But each of us has a story. And most of the time, the scars that we have on our faces are the scars of pain on our bodies as well. The hidden scars, the scars of learning how to bicycle or walk for the first time, the scars of the scars of, really, you can think about anything, right? Any scars, it comes from pain. The scars of abuse, they are there, right? They are there to tell you a story, to remind yourself. And this is what Omar Suleiman actually said at the end. He said, why do we have them? And the reason why is because it reminds us to be humble. It reminds us of where we came from. So I know that this whole video has just been like a reiteration of his video, which was just so mind-blowing for me. I was nodding my head the whole time, and I just felt a calling to kind of tell my own story with this idea of, you know, scars, and hopefully you can tell your own story with the idea of scars as well. So next time you meet someone, or you see someone and you have bags under your eyes, you have not had a good night's sleep because your baby has kept you up all night. Next time you have someone looking at a part of your body that you feel extremely self-conscious about, maybe obviously another sister, and then you feel like you've not got rid of that baby weight, or you feel like someone, you've even been through something which is more of a something much more scarring on your body, and you have people looking at you. It might not even be a scar, it might be a condition. One of my good friends, she has Friedreich ataxia, and she is unable to move her body in a way that is functioning and a way that she's able to do things, and she's not able to move her muscles properly, and that is a kind of scarring, right? That's a kind of scarring on her body which tells a story. And you might have your own story to tell as well. And one other thing that I have to mention when it comes to scars are the invisible ones. And those are the ones which are etched on us through our trauma. And they come through the things that we do, the things that we are, the things that we identify with, the shame that we feel, the fear that we feel. And all of these things, I'm not saying they are to be embraced, the fear and the shame, but the sadness and the pain of where those scars came from, the invisible ones. Sometimes we have to grieve them, and then in order to process them and move on from them as well. And that could be a topic for another day. Thank you so much for being here with me today. Have a blessed day, everyone. And before you go, I do have a free downloadable for you. It is a chapter from my book, The Woke Writer, and it is a PDF. It is a downloadable, all about letting go. Whole book is about inspiration. I hope you enjoy it. Have a blessed day, everyone. I hope when you look in the mirror that you smile when you see the things that other people call flaws, and you know that you are beautiful and you have a story to tell, and that is more important than what other people define as beauty. Have a beautiful day, everyone. Peace.